January 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice released what may be the most anticipated document dump in recent history. Over 3 million pages, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images from 2 decades of investigations into Jeffrey Epstein. This is the story of what those files reveal, how they came to be released, and why this case continues to shock the world. Jeffrey Epstein was a wealthy financier who cultivated relationships with some of the world's most powerful people. But behind the glamorous facade was a horrific reality. Between 2005 and 2019, Epstein was investigated, prosecuted, and ultimately convicted for sexually abusing underage girls. His crimes took place at his properties in New York, Florida, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, involving over 250 victims, according to the Department of Justice. In August 2019, 1 month after being indicted on federal sex trafficking charges, Epstein died by suicide in a New York jail cell. His death left many questions unanswered and fueled demands for transparency about what authorities knew and when they knew it. In 2021, Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite and Epstein's longtime confidant, was convicted of sex trafficking for helping recruit his victims. She's now serving a 20-year prison sentence. To this day, she remains the only person besides Epstein to face criminal charges in the case. The journey to releasing these files spans nearly 2 decades. In March 2005, Palm Beach police began investigating Epstein after a 14-year-old girl's family reported she was molested at his mansion. By July 2006, the FBI opened its investigation. Documents now reveal that agents expected Epstein to be indicted in May 2007. A prosecutor prepared an indictment after multiple victims described being paid for sexualized massages. But here's where the story takes a controversial turn. In 2008, instead of federal charges, Epstein pleads guilty to state prostitution charges in Florida. He serves just 13 months under a work release program that allowed him to leave jail 6 days a week. This lenient deal, negotiated by then U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, would later become a major scandal. Fast forward to July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York finally charge Epstein with sex trafficking. He's arrested, but dies in custody 1 month later. 2 years later, in 2021, Maxwell is convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Public interest surges in January 2024 when a judge orders the unsealing of court documents from a 2015 defamation case involving Maxwell. The documents contained little information that had not already been public knowledge, but names like former presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, Britain's Prince Andrew, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, and others appeared, though most were mentioned in passing without accusations of wrongdoing. In November 2025, Congress passes the Epstein Files Transparency Act, requiring the Department of Justice to release all remaining unclassified records. President Trump signs it into law. On December 19, 2025, the DOJ releases an initial batch of files, but the release drew bipartisan criticism for extensive redactions and failure to meet the law's requirements. Finally, on January 30, 2026, the massive release begins. Over 3 million pages of documents, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images are posted to the Justice Department's website. So what do these millions of pages actually tell us? Perhaps most damning, the files confirm that authorities knew about Epstein's crimes much earlier than previously understood. In September 1996, survivor Maria Farmer complained to the FBI that Epstein was involved in child sex abuse. That's nearly a decade before the Palm Beach investigation began. After the file's release, she called it one of the best days of my life, saying she felt redeemed. The files include snapshots that Epstein kept in his home of various famous people he met over the years, along with extensive email correspondence and flight logs. Documents show contact with Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Steve Bannon, musicians including Michael Jackson and Mick Jagger, Dr. Mehmet Oz, and Britain's Prince Andrew. It's crucial to note, being mentioned in these files does not indicate wrongdoing. Many people had social or business interactions before his criminal activities became public knowledge. Photos show Prince Andrew at Epstein's properties. Andrew has repeatedly denied all wrongdoing, but has been stripped of royal titles. Both Donald Trump and Bill Clinton appear extensively in the files. None of Epstein's victims who have gone public has accused Trump or Clinton of wrongdoing. Despite the massive volume of released material, criticism has been swift and bipartisan. The files are heavily redacted, and at least 16 files were briefly posted, then removed from the Justice Department website. There's also confusion about what exactly exists. During the 2024 campaign, Trump allies promoted the idea of an Epstein client list that the FBI was supposedly withholding. But legal experts note there's no evidence of a formal client list. What exists are flight logs, contact books, phone records, and correspondence. Pieces of a puzzle, not a definitive roster. Congressional investigations continue, with the House Oversight Committee releasing tens of thousands of additional pages. Questions about accountability remain central. Why did early warnings go unheeded? Why was the 2008 plea deal so lenient? Who enabled Epstein's crimes? The Epstein Files remain accessible on the Department of Justice website for anyone who wants to examine the evidence themselves. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear. The demand for truth, accountability, and justice for survivors will not be silenced. If you or someone you know has been affected by sexual abuse, resources are available. The National Sexual Assault Hotline can be reached at 1-800-656-4673 or visit rain.org.